Hello and welcome back to Sharks Happen. On today's show we are going to go over a couple of swimmers, a couple of snorkelers, I believe a spearfishing attack. We're going to finish off the show with a little FAFO to finish out the show. So stick around, it's going to be a great show. Okay, now we're going to start out our show. We're going to head over to Belian, which is Western Bali, and that is over in Indonesia. The date on this attack is March 25th of 2016. Ryan Boarman, he is 24 years old, and he is out doing some surfing, early morning surfing. It's 7 in the morning. He doesn't say distance from shore or depth of water, but he does mention he's sitting there kind of waiting on a wave when the shark, he says, approached him from behind. So he's laying on his board probably waiting for a wave, and it approached him from behind and took his whole elbow into its mouth. And he says that the shark kind of bumped him, knocking him off his board and under the water. And after this, the shark just disappears, because he says he looks over and he saw a dark shape just swimming away. So he figured that, you know, he had been bitten by a shark. Witnesses that had seen it said that his entire elbow had went in the shark's mouth, and that it was damaged more when the shark pulled away from Ryan. Like I said, he gets bumped off the board, dragged under by his elbow, and then the shark kind of drags his teeth off of it. It sounds like it did damage tendons, but not ligaments. So he had to go in and get some surgery. He ended up with a severe bite. They don't know what type of shark it is, but it sounds like a kind of brackish type estuary water, because the shark expert said that, you know, bull sharks will hang out in estuary waters. So if that is the case and it's brackish water, I would say it's most likely a bull shark. But we're going to put it down as an attack, not an attempt to predate, by a 6-foot shark. He said it was about 6 feet, so that'll be the attack on Ryan Boarman, and we'll move on. Okay, now we're going to head over to the lagoon, and that is over in Coral Bay. That's in Australia. The date is January 19th of 2012. David Pickering, he is 26 years old, and he is leading a tour group. He's got some people, and he's on a snorkeling. He's out on a snorkeling tour. It includes a nurse and her daughter, a 13-year-old daughter, and I guess there's a couple kids in this tour group. And he's in the water 100 meters from shore, 100 yards from shore. So it doesn't say the depth of the water, but it sounds like it's well above, you know, whatever his height is. And it sounds like his head is above the water, so he's at the top of the water. And he says when he turned around, the shark was just there and hit him in the arm. So he gets bitten in his right forearm by the shark, and he says that it had some pretty good forward momentum, as it seemed to push him forward and under, because he scraped his knee on the shark's belly as he was attacked. He says he hit the shark with his other hand, and the shark released him and swam off. He went ahead, he had to swim the 100 yards to shore. He was telling everybody else to get out of the water, to swim for the water right when he was attacked. And he swam to shore holding his arm up out of the water as he was swimming, to keep, you know, the blood from, I guess, just being in the water at the time. But just a crazy attack. He gets in. They didn't say anything about tendon damage. He also had a few, it looked like little spikes, like the teeth just barely indented his hand. So he got his forearm, but he does have some looks like nicks, like maybe a few millimeter wide bite, you know, teeth tips that went into that hand. They said this was a 10-foot tiger shark that came in and got him, and that's just a brutal attack. He was just lucky to have a nurse to be able to help him right when he got onto the beach. That was actually in his tour that day that he was giving. He said I'll put the clip up, but in the clip he says he was stoked that none of the kids got attacked and it got him instead. Just crazy attack, a job I wouldn't want to do. But, you know, the presence of mind to just raise your hand up out of the water and swim to shore after you've gotten into it with a 10-foot tiger shark is kind of amazing to me. So that's the attack on David Pickering, an attack, not an attempt to predate, by a 10-foot tiger shark. And it does not sound like they were there looking at sharks. Sounds like this shark just appeared. Okay, now we're going to head over to Lifeguard Beach, and that is over in North Carolina. The date on this attack is July 1st of 2015. Andrew Costello, he is 67 years old, and he is out taking a swim. He's out just after noon, about 12:10. He's out with his son, and he says he's just past the breakers, just beyond the breakers, right in front of the lifeguard station. So right in front of the lifeguard stand, he and his son are swimming. They're in waist deep water, so 3.5 to 4 feet deep water. 7 meters, 8 yards from shore, real close to shore, 26 feet, they say. So they're in shallow water, and he says he bumps into a shark. And as soon as he bumped into the shark went on the attack. And he ended up tussling with the shark a little bit. The shark ended up taking him under. The lifeguard had seen the shark take him under and then saw him come to the surface and make his way close to the beach by the time he got down there to get to him and bring him in. So the shark released on its own while he was probably fighting with it pretty good, because he ended up with the first bite, it sounds like, was to his torso. And they say it's a left hip area, and that was the most severe bite. Then he had a bite to the same, it sounds like, the left leg. Both of his arms were bitten, and then one of his hands had injuries, probably that defensive wound when you're fighting off the shark. So David Costello ends up with just a vicious attack. They say a 6 to 7 foot shark. They couldn't identify what kind of shark. They said it was gray in color. That isn't going to help you identify a shark very much. I mean, gray in color could be anything from a bull shark to a black tip, a spinner. They're all gray in color at times, different ones. So tough to call on that one. And 6 to 7 feet could be a black tip. You never know. So those are common in the area. Now, this was 2015, and they had a spate of, I believe it was 7 attacks within 3 weeks, I think it was, back in 2015 in North Carolina. And that reminds me of maybe it was 2022 or 2021 in Long Island when they had those 5 attacks pretty close together. Not major, the smaller type sharks or the non-lethal sharks. Like your gray nurse, I think one of them was, and then another one was a lemon shark. I don't think it was a lemon shark, but they weren't great whites, they weren't tigers or bulls. They were just bites, and they're trying to figure out why these happen all at the same time like that. And, it's tough to tell. Trends in shark attacks, it's almost impossible. And speaking of that, the whole high humidity thing, pretty much most shark attacks are in high humidity. So that leads me to believe that around the ocean it's mostly high humidity, and I don't think we're going to learn anything by the humidity being above 50% in probably 95% of attacks. I think that's just part of the environment, the fact that it's by the water. We're in the water, so usually it's hot, which makes cooks the water, makes it humid. Like I said, it's hard to find any patterns, and then you run across something like that, and you run across it so much that you're like, this isn't a pattern, this is just the rule, it's not the exception. There's not an exception to a rule. Yeah, you're going to have days where there's an attack where the humidity isn't up high like it normally is, but I don't think humidity is going to be able to find a pattern. I don't think they're going to be able to find patterns. I was going to say the last show that I had that I figured attacks seemed down last year, and I just saw a thing that says that there was but there was 44 shark attacks worldwide last year, and that's down from normal of about 70. Ever since about 75, they've been about 70 a year on average. With some years having a little bit more, some years having a little bit less, but it's usually around 70, just over 1 a week. And this time there was less than 1 a week. And I think you have to go back to like 1970 or 1960s to be able to get to where there was only 1 shark attack a week. So they were down. They don't know why they were down. and that doesn't fit that global warming narrative, or and it especially, you know, makes people that are going to sit there and say, well, overfishing is causing these attacks. Really? We're overfishing, yet the attacks were less than one a week. They do manage, you know, the fish out there. If you look into fish management, and if you're into books, Perfect Storm, I got the audio book, but the book, The Perfect Storm, is much better than the movie. And it gets into some of the fishing and how they manage. That one is swordfish, but they talk about a few different fish that they had to deal with out there by the Grand Banks and the Outer Banks out there off North Carolina. So you know, they do manage these fish as well as just about everything else. Crabs, they manage the numbers of those, and they do a pretty good job in my opinion. And there's no shortage of fish for sharks, because attacks are not going up, at least not noticeably. So that's the attack on Andrew Costello. An attack, not an attempt to predate, 6 to 7 foot shark. We just don't know what kind. Okay, now we're going to head over real quick to Whale Bay, to King Island. That's in Tasmania, Australia. Date on this attack is January 25th of 1959. John Grave, he is 16 years old, and he is out, they say it says shallow water he is in, and he's on an inner tube. He's tubing, and he's on his inner tube, and he says that he notices a dark shape approaching. And this dark shape comes up and hits his inner tube, knocking him into the water, and then he's cut in his leg. And then shark is gone. Sounds like it just swam right by him, but it knocked him off the board, and they think one of its fins caused an abrasion, a cut that needed 3 stitches to be able to sew up. So he gets knocked off of his inner tube. About 6-7 foot shark knocks him off his inner tube into the water, to where he gets scraped by one of those fins, probably a tail fin, and you know, it has those denticles, and they're so sharp, they do cutting, and it made him need 3 stitches. So, you know, probably not a very big wound and deep enough for stitches, just to make sure it heals right. And they probably had to clean it out, because same thing with the shark's mouth. Maybe their denticles have the same bacteria in it, and maybe the water too. So that's the attack on John Grave, a 16-year-old, an attack, not a bite, kind of bumped, hit by the shark as it was just swimming by. So it's not really an attack. It doesn't sound like the shark came and was messing with the thing and knocked him over. It could have just hit the inner tube and flipped him out of it. And luckily he doesn't get bit. He just has to go in for a few stitches on his leg, and that's the story. So we're not even going to put this down in the attacks, because it's not really an attack. That's the story of John Graves. We'll move on. Okay, now we're going to finish off our unprovoked attacks. We are going to go over off of Airlie Beach, which is over in Queensland, Australia. Date on this attack is October 29th of 2019. Danny Maggs and Alistair Raddon, they are out and they're doing some snorkeling. They came off of a support boat, and they're off Airlie Beach, but they're kind of between these 2 islands, and they're in Hook Passage, it's called. They don't say how far from shore, distant depth of the water. They do say they're 30 feet from the boat, support boat, at 10:20 in the morning. And they're in the water. They say that they don't know how many people are in the water, but could be about half of the 20 people that are on this snorkeling boat to go out diving, to go out swimming. There was 20 on the boat. They don't know how many are in the water. About half, they say, are in the water, half are on the boat, along with Danny and Alistair that are in the water. They are splashing and wrestling with each other in the water, so it's making a commotion on the water, when suddenly Alistair is bitten in the leg. He's bitten in the calf, and it's a severe bite to his calf. Now, the shark leaves. He knows he's been bitten by a shark. The shark heads off momentarily, turns around and comes back and bites off Danny Maggs' foot. So one has a severe bite to the calf, and the other loses his foot as they're sitting there splashing and making a commotion. They said that this was a 10-foot tiger shark, or a tiger shark. At first they didn't know, but they think it's a tiger shark that went ahead and did this. I don't know if they got tooth fragments out of it, or I think I saw that they saw that there was serrations in the upper and lower jaw, and they think it might be a tiger shark because of the serrations being in both jaws. On the bottom teeth of these, a lot of them don't have serrations. They're those pointy things that aren't going to have the probably cause skin to kind of be broken up a little bit on the cut, is what I would imagine those serrations do. But I don't know. Maybe they found a tooth fragment, but I have seen that they think a tiger shark went ahead, removed one's foot, bit the other in the calf. They get them both in. I'll put a clip in. There's a fundraiser that they had for Danny Maggs, because he's going to have to go through all these surgeries because the shark amputated his foot, but they might need to amputate further, it said, and usually in that case you have denuded bone there, and they have to deal with that. And it's going to be multiple surgeries. You're going to need a prosthetic. It's going to be expensive. I think they were trying to raise $250,000 for him at the time. So just a terrible attack. They're out having a great time. Suddenly you bump into a shark that doesn't like that you're in its water, which is what this sounds like the shark was doing. The fact that they were splashing and making a commotion. Our first cat, me and my wife's first cat, Batman, he didn't like noise. He didn't like, I would tickle my wife and she would laugh, and as she's kind of getting a high-pitched screamy laugh, he would bite one of us to make it stop. That's what this shark reminds me of, coming in and biting somebody that's just doing something that he doesn't want them to do. I'll put it down as an attack, not an attempt to predate on both of these, and a tiger shark is going to go down for both Danny Maggs and Alistair Raddon. Alistair Raddon. What am I thinking? So that's how that'll go down, and that'll end the unprovoked attacks, and we'll finish off the show next with FAFO. Stick around. Okay, we're going to finish off the show here with another FAFO case. We got a case here out at the Admiralty Islands, which is over in the Papua New Guinea, and this was, when was this? June 1st of 1961. Marik Pokas, he is 16 years old, and he is spearfishing from a canoe, and he shoots a 9-foot shark, and this shark ends up dragging the canoe, capsizing it. So Marik ends up in the water. The shark comes up and severely bites his thigh. And then he's able to get back into his canoe after the shark bit him with it sounds like a bad bite to the thigh. And he gets back in the canoe, so the shark comes up and bites the canoe. And it sounds like the shark went off. He's able to get in and get himself help. He survives the attack. Just brutal, though. Again, if he wouldn't have shot that shark, would that have happened? Man, I'm not going out shooting sharks with anything. Less, a bazooka. What are those M50 50 millimeter guns that they use over there in wars? I'm not having it with the shark. Bad things happen. It's kind of like people are shooting sharks, and there could be good things that happen, like you can get the shark and do what you want with it. I don't know if they're getting them out, if they're getting the teeth. I don't know what they're doing with them, but they want these sharks. So I guess that's the good thing that could happen. The bad thing that could happen is it could drag you so far that you could never get air, you could drown. Another bad thing that could happen is it could drag your canoe, capsize it, come and bite you in the leg, and then when you get back in the canoe, it bites your canoe. And then, it could come back and go ahead and dismember things, which is just about the worst thing that could happen. So most of the things that could happen are bad, and Bo Schembechler, my favorite coach of all times, for Michigan, said that when you throw the ball, 3 things can happen and 2 of them are bad. And that's the same way I look at shooting a shark. Is that more things are going to possibly be bad than good outcomes from that situation. So there's another FAFO situation. I hope you enjoyed this show. I hope you'll be back. I'm going to try to get out. I forgot about those individual attacks, and I can get those out in between. So I'm going to try to hit you up with a repeated attack. So I'm going to do this episode series of people that are attacked, before rescue and during rescue, and that's the first one I'm going to start out with. And I might do that in a couple days. I forgot I had those. So I should be able to get more than one show a week out, and I know it's been more than a week, but I got into this great baking mood the other day and did some baking. I've been doing a lot of cooking. That's some of the things that I've been doing is documentaries, cooking. Oh, and I wanted to mention for people that like storytelling, if you have 3 hours, there was a case where somebody sent rice to Obama, and they sent it to a few other politicians around the country. The backstory on this thing is unlike anything I've ever heard. If you have Netflix, the name of it's Kings of Tupelo, and it is just amazing. It is such a crazy story. Mensa is this brainiac club, that these people get into, and somebody broke a Mensa guy's brain in this situation. Like I said, it's 3 one-hour episodes, Kings of Tupelo, and the first 2 kind of set up the third, which is just the craziest story. That third one is even crazier than the first 2 as far as the stories in it. And if you like storytelling, that's probably one of the ones that you might want to see. It's entertaining, it's sad, it's tragic, it's all over the map. But it's just something that I did when I started watching it. I was like, well, I'd like to see the backstory on that. I remember when it happened, I used to read the USA Today every day, so I was like, I'll take a look at this, and man, I could not believe what I saw. So that has nothing to do about sharks. About sharks, we'll get back to that real quick. I was sent a still photo. The viewer's trying to get a hold of me and let me know, did you see the photo? And yes, I did see the photo. She sent me a still photo of Cameron Robbins in the water. Just before he's dropped down under the water like a bobber. Looks to me like a fin up by his, not a dorsal fin, like a tail fin up by his body as it's going in. Like, not the tail fin itself, but that little fin that they'll have before that. And I think, what is it, the bull shark that has that? But anyway, thank you for sending that. Definitely looks like a fish in the water with him. Can't tell what kind of fish. Color isn't going to do it. And for me, I have to see something, a dorsal fin. Best thing is to see the shark's head, but then a dorsal fin and tail fin together, like both of them sticking out of the water together, it's easy to tell. At least you can nail down whether it's like a bull shark or tiger shark by the tail fin and not this guy, because his is going to be kind of the same top and bottom type thing. So yeah, that whole thing, as soon as I saw it, I knew he was taken by a shark. I fish all the time, and like I said, it's like a bobber going under the water, and these are fish. Fish are fish. When they take something away, it looks the same. Nobody will ever convinced me that wasn't a shark attack. And, they came out and said that there were bull sharks and tiger sharks all over those waters. So then you got a boat that's sitting there, stationary for a while, who knows how long. But it's definitely been stationary enough for stuff to get in the water, then him to add himself to the stuff in the water, them to throw the life preserver overboard and then him get taken away. So, like I said, large ships, even boats, they're going to collect underneath those, see if there's fish under there hiding that they want to go ahead and eat. That's the show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you'll be back in another week for another full episode. I got the bull shark special that I'm working on now. I'm still putting that one together because I want to make sure that I go through all the ones that aren't yet into the stats that I've been working on getting into the spreadsheet. As soon as the spreadsheet is updated, I'll figure out how to get that out to you all. And I want to say thank you so much to everybody that ordered. I haven't done sales like that since I first contacted YouTube all the way back in April of 2021. That's how I used to have sales, is daily sales. So that was nice. Thank you. I hope you enjoy your merchandise, and it definitely helps me out. So thank you so much. Thank you for watching. And until next time, if you go into, oh, and that's the other thing with this guy. He was in at least one of the episodes that I shot last week. Like I said, I had problems with the mic, which he's probably messing with right now. But I had issues with my mic, and I had to redo it a couple times. He was in it, and I wanted to get him in one because this guy, I nickname all my cats. We've had about 6 or 7. I've nicknamed all of them except for one, I think, or 2. My wife has nicknamed 2 of them, the 2 girls. But I've nicknamed all the boys except for this guy. This guy's nickname came from my niece Caitlin. When she first met him, she said, "What a bad baby." And he is a bad baby. That is his nickname. And I call him that all the time. Well, you might notice that my clock is gone from here, and it's up here. And the reason why is because he broke the hand off of it. The large hand here is busted off halfway up. And then I had to put it up there because he was just attacking it as it was down here. So then I got this chair, and it's on wheels, so he would run and try to push it over so he could get up to this clock. I'm seeing stuff knocked over all over the place, so he's probably been neglected in his mind here or there to be able to do that, because the more bored he is, the more he's going to come up and bite me and knock things over. And he's got that, if you've ever seen on Facebook, probably my favorite meme of all time is the kitten at the bar, and it's pushing the shot glass off the thing. It says, "Bartender, I'll have another one." That's this cat here. He takes my glasses, knocks them over. I got plastic cups, and they're broken because he knocks them off everything. I can't leave one around. So I just wanted to update you on what he's been up to. He's been up to a lot of his normal bad baby stuff. And that's Jackson. So thanks for watching. If you go into that water, you are much more afraid of these sharks than they are of you.